Hello everyone and welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live on YouTube, so get yourself subscribed to the channel. It costs absolutely nothing to do so and you'll be able to get yourself involved in the live chat. Yes, it is me, the Scott Carney, and I thought I would take time away from the chaos in my life to talk about Rangers, the things that I do for this podcast. Before I introduce my esteemed guest, regular punters will know that I really miss pods. And if you watch the reaction pod after the cup final, you'll know a wee bit about why that has been happening, why I've not been here. I'm still not fully back as normal, but I don't half miss the pod when I don't do it. And without divulging my whole life story, my old man's got cancer. His condition has declined quite considerably. So all I can say is that I appreciate your support and your understanding during this time. But tonight was due to be a live show, and since it isn't, I thought I would make an appearance and help the right-hand man out for a change instead of doing it all on his own. And without no further ado than that, we'll move straight on. I am delighted to be joined by my good friend, my right-hand man, the vice-captain, the second-in-command, dog lover and the godson to my, the godfather to my son, even, Mr. Alistair Pearson. Ali, how are you, my friend?
Very well. I think folk will be sick at sight of me, Carney, the amount of bloody podcasts I've done and post-matches and everything. The other guys tonight have other commitments tonight so that they can't be on. Somebody's asked if Ryan's in Turkey with Scott Wright.
Probably.
Yeah. Maybe there. But no, we've got, there's a lot to talk about, Carney, end of season in terms of there's a lot going on at Rangers at the moment.
Yeah, there is. Obviously, I've been away, but I've been very much still involved and still catching up and stuff, listening to various podcasts as well as Club at 22. I'm making sure you guys are keeping the things on track, and you very much have been. But yeah, there's been a hell of a lot going on, and there's no other place to start. And you've got Bisgrove he's one of these guys that he's a CEO, so he's going to make it all about him. But it didn't half mess with the agenda and the way that I was going to do this podcast tonight. But it is the place that we're going to need to start, mate. Is that James Bisgrove is departing the club. A statement said Rangers can confirm Chief Executive Officer James Bisgrove will leave the club, having accepted a new football role in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. The Rangers board has implemented an interim executive structure, and together with John Bennett, Philip Clement, Niles Coppin, and the football board will prioritise the execution of the summer transfer activity. John Bennett will assume the role of executive chairman on an interim basis to ensure continuity and support to the wider executive team as they focus on executing other plans for the summer, both on and off the pitch. Goes on to say the standard. Craig Weir, thank you very much, mate. Very much appreciated for the donation. That's very, very kind of you. Goes on for John Bennett to say the usual stuff, mate, of we thank James. James is great, and the progress and the changes or the projects that Bisgrove has started will be uninterrupted. What's your thoughts on this initially, mate, before we kind of dig a wee bit deeper, I suppose, on Bisgrove? Kind of came out the blue, but as I said to you earlier on when I seen you, mate, if you offered me 5-6 times the money of my job that I have just now to go and do it in Saudi for a couple of years, tax-free, I would think I would take it.
Yeah. Just seen before I go into that, Carney, Robert Lamont in the comments has asked a question. Anyone tell me my just bronze level actually gets as a fan? Hee-haw. That's a quick answer for it.
You might get a keyring in your pack, but there's not a great deal, no.
10% off your dinner in the Sky Lounge if you go outside the games. Yeah. There you go. But no, Bisgrove. Aye, like you say, Carney. Obviously we've seen each other today at work. We briefly talked about Bisgrove, but if it's money, he's going out to Saudi Arabia to a club that's just been promoted. But I don't blame the guy for going. He's a young guy as well, quite ambitious. But if he's going out there for, I don't know what wage he's on, but you'd expect he's on a hefty wage out there in Saudi. No grief as well, Carney, which I did mention today. Glasgow, you know what Glasgow's like. He's not going to get grief out there. Nice weather and everything. So I don't blame Bisgrove. He's been at Rangers 5 years. Come in mainly as the commercial director at the time. He brought a lot of revenue streams into Rangers, Carney. I think he's been positive for Rangers. Was the CEO last season. got a couple of things wrong, but I liked his approach in terms of he brought the fan engagement. Emerson House is a new one as well. I thought he was forward thinking, and they should probably be looking along the same lines in terms of who to bring in next. But I want to hear from Bennett, Carney, because I've not heard from him since that disaster of an interview 2 seasons ago. So he needs to come out and tell the fans what's going on. But yeah, it was a wee bit of a shock at the time. But when you look at it, it's not really, because he's going out there for big bucks.
Yes, there's absolutely zero doubt about it. I think the timing of it's a bit weird, but I don't think there's probably ever a really great time to do something like this and for this to happen within the club. So yeah, I was a wee bit raised an eyebrow when I think 4 lads is what I'd seen it pop up on Twitter first, and I went, oh, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And then very, very about 5 minutes later, the statement was released by Rangers that Bisgrove is indeed moving on. He was brought in as the commercial director to start off with initially, mate. He did, I wouldn't say work wonders as in terms of changing the way that the club was, but he did bring in a lot of money. He did make mistakes. That Sportman Go thing that he done, which was a complete failure. I was like, I don't even know how. It's like a crypto thing, I think. Somebody in comments will probably correct me, but again, that was a complete farce because that folded and left Rangers with a bit of a sting. But I think he admitted mistakes. He seemed like quite an approachable guy. I think he has worked wonders in terms of opening up communication with the board to an extent. I'm not going to say it's perfect because it definitely isn't. As Ali mentioned, it is about time we hear from Bennett. A wee quote in a statement that followed Bisgrove's departure today really doesn't cut the mustard. There is going to need to be more than that. In terms overall with Bisgrove, do you consider him a success? Do you think, and I know you mentioned briefly when you first had your thought, should Rangers follow the same approach as this and get a businessman in more so than a kind of football-minded guy? And that's no disrespect to Bisgrove.
It's been a success. It's difficult because as a CEO, he was only there for a year, Carney. Like I say, he came in as a commercial director. I think he was a success in that role. The Australia thing was the thing he got completely wrong. He didn't read the room there. He did come out, to give him some sort of credit, he did come out and hold his hands up and say that we got it wrong, which was fair. That was good to see him actually come out and say that. He was one of the only ones that came out, Carney, and said, I think he might have been the only one that came out and said we got it wrong. Nobody else came out from the club. And that's not just him making that decision. There's other board members there, Carney, that made that decision. So
yeah,
I thought he was a success. Like I say, I thought he was forward thinking in terms of he was more modern. Football's changed, as we were talking today at my work today. Football has changed now in terms of he was looking at different revenue streams. Esmond House, he was a big one in that, Carney. That will make us money for years to come. The Blue Sky Lounge as well. There's the opening of I think this summer or whatever it is, the pub where the old club shop will be opening as well. It's G51 it's called. So it's, I would say it was, but ultimately focal point to the football part, Carney. That wasn't a success. So off the field, potentially yes, but on the field, no. But is Bisgrove the guy he brought Michael Beelan, so he's part of that. So I thought he was all right. I thought he did okay, to be honest.
Yeah, I do think he was okay. I think he was a good face for the board, if that makes sense. He was a good guy to have out there, very good at public speaking, knew what he was talking about, quite a savvy guy. And yeah, I think there's always going to be disagreements when they decide to go, whether it was a success or he was a failure. I think he did some good and he did some bad, and I think that's maybe the footballing side of it is the bit that let him down. Maybe that's the drawback to employing a businessman in this role and not employing a guy with a football mind. I don't know. I think you have to say he done well in some areas and failed on others. But yeah, the new search now for a new CEO will be underway, and I suppose we'll probably bring it up a little bit later on as well as we speak about last season, and we'll think about the season coming. We'll move on to the season kind of review just quickly, mate. Your thoughts on the season as a whole. You can be as brief or as detailed as you like here, Alistair.
I think we need another podcast to debrief
probably,
season, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
I can imagine we'd probably do one in the summertime where you could probably look into it a bit deeper if you want to say, because we've had 2 managers. Overall, Carney, if you look at it, what we've come out with a League Cup. that's a failure for me. The league is the one you want. It's the be-all and end-all. Rangers have failed majorly in the last 4 or 5 years in terms of that. So it was a bizarre season because at October time, Carney, I was sitting here in this podcast. I'd written the whole season off for me. The league was gone. I didn't see Rangers doing anything. Clement came in, got the new manager bounce. We got the League Cup. We overtook Celtic in the league. But when it came to the crunch, ultimately we failed. And there's a pattern. It's the same group of players that failed for the past 3-4 seasons. I know they won the league way back during COVID. They got to a Europa League final, but that's not good enough. They need to win consistent. They need to win trophies most seasons. The League Cup's not good enough for me. So overall this season, Carney, it was a big failure. The problem was with 6-7 games to go, we believed at that point, and this Rangers team, as they do, let you down big style, and they did over a couple of games, and that's why everyone went into the cup final thinking we're not going to do it. They actually showed up in the cup final, Carney. I thought they played as good as they probably could have done. A very limited side we are, but story of our season, a slack goal that we caused. So overall for me, Carney, it was a complete failure again.
Yeah, so I agree, mate. I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend or pull the wool over anybody's eyes that watches this podcast that I thought this season was a success, because it certainly was not. I think you're right about the cup final. I thought when Celtic scored, it was a slow one, and that immediately let me know, kind of to yourself as you're watching the game, because you don't really think about things like, oh, we're on top here or anything like that, not when you're involved in the game. But being at Hampden and they scored, it felt like a right sucker punch. It was like a punch in the stomach, and I thought, God, we must have been in with a chance there, and that's kind of the way it felt. But ultimately, when I left Hampden and I was walking back to meet you, I did think, well, that's of course that was going to happen this season. Why would it have been any different? Yeah, for me, I say everything you said. You cannot call the league. You cannot call the season a success without winning the league. Cup double might have left a better taste in fans' mouths heading into the summer. Don't get me wrong. I think we would have enjoyed that, and I think it would have been a nice way to finish this season. I think we were all took on the ride, mate, where we thought possibly we were going to be in for something quite special. I think the bounce that Clement got was probably in tandem with Celtic's worst part of the season. Celtic finished the season pretty strong. Rangers did not. We faltered away. Again, said to you earlier on the day, by mid-April, we were completely out of steam. There was nothing left in the tank for a lot of those players. And again, an injury season, I can't remember it being as bad. People were coming back for 2 games and then they were away again for 4 months. And there's just a lot of work to be done. But in terms of the season as a whole, I think when Clement came in, I thought there was positives in that. Beale's reign was clearly a disaster, a very much a failed experiment by the board, and the kind of with the Clement coming in, he seems to have got something out of the players. However, it's probably the players that have left us where we are now with the taste that we do have in our mouth, that the cycle is over again, absolutely again, and hard work of the rebuild very much starts now. Where did the club get it wrong, Ali? Where did the board get it wrong? And this is one we can probably bring Bisgrove in, and I suppose we start with the appointment of Michael Beale, and Bisgrove and Bennett have a lot to do with that.
Yes, Michael Beale was a huge failure. Probably one of the worst. It's bizarre because Michael Beale, when he came into Rangers, similar to Clement when he came in after Van Bronckhorst gets that, Michael Beale went on a run, Carney, and he won a lot of games with Rangers. And the tail end of the season, we fell away in terms of big games. There's big similarities in terms of this season, last season, with the new managers that came in. What's Curry Munch?
That's quite good. That is quite good.
But the Michael Beale thing it was huge, Carney. They brought an inexperience. I know he'd been up at Rangers as a coach. He'd done all right at QPR over 10 games, whatever it was, and we brought him up here. Didn't like that he was in Ibrox when Van Bronckhorst was sitting in a dugout. I didn't like that. Failed big style bringing Michael Beale in, but not bringing in a director of football as well, letting Michael Beale have free rein basically on who we're bringing in. And we all looked during pre-season, Carney. I remember going to Newcastle game, and I don't think you were at the game, but I remember texting you saying,
No.
I'm worried about this. And then obviously we went out to the Hoffenheim game. We watched the Rangers go 2-0 down. I know we brought it back, but we all looked at each other and went, what's going on here? And then we started the first game of the season, and it was like, oh God, there's nothing here. That was a huge failure. It's a podcast. It's another podcast for us to do this summer in terms of breaking the season down. But that was a huge failure because that put us back in terms of the league for me was done in October. If Clermont, say we'd went with Philip Clermont and it's at the beginning, maybe we would have had a chance. But the difficulty is we brought Michael Beale in, we let him have free rein in bringing these players in, and we're stuck with some of them now. I know it's bizarre that some have actually turned out all right on loans that we'll come on to, but the Michael Beale thing for me was a big one for me.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't at the Newcastle game, but I do remember you messaging saying, I don't know what I'm watching here. Like you were a bit perplexed about what you were watching. And yeah, we went to Hoffenheim and we were slated, mate. I remember the post-match that we put up after that vlog that we'd done. And yes, we had plenty of German lager that day. Don't get me wrong. We were full streets to the wind, but we were still. Well, I was still so worried. Even when it got to 2 each at the end, I was going, "Wow, I didn't like any of that. I really didn't enjoy much of that at all." It was the first time that we'd seen Danilo, I think, and that was the only bit of positive I could take is that he killed the ball out the sky with one touch, and I thought, "Wow, a player that's got a touch." But yeah, we were slated, mate, and I always remain glass half full. I always try and do. People will know that watch the pod. That I always try and remain glass half full, but. The Michael Beale appointment certainly did not work, and I agree. The director of football is a lesson that the club will have learned now, and that's something that look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I said, do we really need it in Scottish football? After the evidence we've seen under Beale without one, yes, 100% we do. We need someone more in control, more in depth, more in the powers of negotiating better deals, I think, for players. That's something that we are going to need, and you need a director of football or director of footballing, whatever he's called, footballing transfers or whatever it is, whatever Coppin's title is. It's still very much director of football role, but it's something that we do need. It's something that we do need, and it was something that came back to bite the club on its arse. Another thing we'll speak about, mate, is again, we've got to the end of a season and we are losing multiple players that are not in contract. We are getting nothing back for players that have served this club for quite a long time. This has to be the end of it. We've got to the end of the season now, but this has to be the end of this. We can't continuously have players coming in. Don't get me wrong, like Barisic is probably good business if you look at his whole run, his whole career, what we bought him in for, what he gave us in return while he was good. And Barisic was good at points. I'll not stand with people saying that he wasn't at points. Barisic was good for this club. I probably more under the Gerrard era than anything else. But it has to stop now. Rangers have to start doing business properly in terms of player trading.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a dog in the background here.
What is he doing? Is he wheezing? Has he got it stuck in his throat?
Oh, it's a toy. It's a toy that's got a squeaker in it, but the squeak's not broken. There anymore. If you know what I mean,
it's broken. Yes.
So it's basically I
did tell everybody at the start, mate, that you were a dog lover, so I'm sure people understand. In fact, I bet you the next comment is, Ali, let's see your dog, guaranteed.
He's too busy with a toy there at the moment, so you'll hear him in the background. He's kind of put me off there. What was the question again there, Carney?
The question was the player trading model. We've let players contracts come to an end.
Yes. Ultimate failure. The ones that you look at have come at the end of a contract there, but you talked about Barisic there. Barisic should have been sold probably when we won the league, when he was at his peak in terms of Lundstrom. I don't think you're ever going to sell Lundstrom, to be honest. He was kind of, let's see the dog. Lundstrom again, Ryan Jack. There's a lot of players, to be honest, Carney, that came in the contract. Probably couldn't have really sold, to be honest. Ryan Jack, I don't think we could have ever sold him. Lundstrom, I don't think we could have sold him. It's that's the job now of
I disagree with that. I think Lundstrom after the European run, I think you could have sold John Lundstrom. Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know. I don't know. I just look at the age of him and stuff, and but the thing is that there's players and contracts, Carney, that we need to start selling, and we need to get short of them. I know you're going to come on to some of them, but I mean, Scott Wright has still got a year left in his contract. We should be looking at moving Scott Wright on. I know we tried to move him on last season, to be fair, and it fell in its arse. But the player trade model is a big one, Carney, because I hate to say it, but look across the other side of the city. They bring players in and punt them for stupid money. That Matt O'Reilly, who apparently is not going to the Euros with Denmark, which I found bizarre. The amount of goals he scored for Celtic, something about 19 goals or something.
Is he not?
Didn't make the Denmark squad, which I found bizarre. But
madness.
But
he's fixed the squeaker. He's fixed the squeaker.
Nah, he's got a new toy. So I'll need to try and get that off him during the Manscaped promo. But no, they bring players in, Carney, and I just him as an example, Matt O'Reilly. He'll probably leave in the summer for something like 25 million. He will. That's the model we need to be looking at, and we've not done it. Patterson aside, Bassey, which I think we got lucky with, because Bassey only came in because somebody was injured that season, and he kind of shone through. Joe Aribo, I don't think.
Barisic was injured, I think, for Bassey when he
was
came
it?
in the left back.
Was it? Players like I'm trying to think who else there was, but aye, we need to do more with that going forward, and that's why players like Diamandi have been brought in, Carney. Players that that obviously we've got an obligation to buy him in the summer at 4-point-something million. Players like that at that age, that profile, we need to bring in, get 2 seasons out of them. If they're spectacular for Rangers, but win us trophies, I don't care if they leave, but they have to be moved on for big money. Then you reinvest again. So that's the model that we have to do going forward with Neil Scotland.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ryan Jackie, you're probably not going to get anything back for him. It's not a great deal, but it is too many players that are just running out of contract and just moving on. Don't get me wrong, we'll recruit a lot of money in terms of wages that they are no longer getting, and that all helps for recruitment. I do understand that, but we do have to get better at, and fans alike as well. Probably we have to get our heads in the notion that these players are not going to be here forever. I think Tavernier and Goldson have kind of broke the mould really for modern footballers, for how long they're remaining at the club and how they're still remaining at a level for the club. I know both have considerably dropped this season, for sure. I'm not going down I've not got the strength to go down the Goldson and Tavernier route tonight, but we do have to get that better. That is something that has to improve going forward. No matter what, it's going to need to improve. Be it the players sellable or not, we still have to recruit something on these players instead of just letting them go for absolutely nothing. In terms of last season, mate, is there a positive in terms of anything that you've seen? It could be a player, it could be the manager. Is there a positive you can take away from this season?
A positive?
I expected you just to go like that there. No, next question. No, next question.
Not much. Clement is a manager. I do like Clement. I like the way he speaks, Carney. He's obviously got a track record in winning titles in Belgium, wherever he was from. But
Belgium. Well done, you got there.
Yes, I got there in the end. The dog's throwing me off here. All these
I know. Fucking hell, man.
It's a pain, but I can see Clement, what he's doing. Yes, he's not beating Celtic this year, but I think he's a positive in terms of what we've brought in. Coppin as well, in terms of him coming as well. I think you look at the players we brought in January, Carney. Fabio Silva for me was a punt and a failure, but the other two, I think Diamandi will come good. I think with a pre-season under him, I think he could be a star next season with decent players round about him. And also looked at Cortez when he came in. Sod's law for us, he get bloody injured, but what I've seen of him, he looked decent. He looked the type of player we should be going for. So that's 2 positives for me. And Dujon Sterling is a positive for me. A guy that hasn't even played in his own bloody position. He's played every position. I know there's a joke going on Twitter that he's going to be the new CEO of Rangers going forward because he's done every position at Rangers. But Dujon Sterling, he's a guy we should be building a team around, and he's a guy that should be the right back for Rangers next season. But he's been a positive this season.
I agree, Sterling. The only thing that concerns me about Sterling is I don't want too much pressure to be put on him because we don't really know his best position. I know a lot of people say middle of the pitch, but that's because we're lacking the legs and the mobility and the kind of the strength, the power of him within the midfield. So everybody talks about building the team around Sterling, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't be involved going forward. By the way, he 100% should be, but it makes me a wee bit nervous that we're focusing everything onto him. I think he's probably going to be best at right back. I don't see why he can't be tested there over the upcoming friendlies, the friendlies that we're going to have before the season kicks off, and he should be looked at for me as a position. The position that he seems most natural is probably the right back position. He should be taking that off at Tavernier now going forward. I think he should be. I think there's every area of the squad, I suppose we'll come to that for next season. Every area of the squad really needs a bit of TLC, needs a bit of attention. But yeah, Sterling, very much a positive. I agree. Clement, initially when he came in, you could see the style he was trying to implement. I think the injuries and the restrictions in the player's fitness, or the limitations of the player's fitness even, made them begin to struggle, and I think we lost our way at times. I think the players lost our way at times. I thought we were falling into routines that we've seen of old, that we were all kind of sick of seeing. But I do believe that Clement is going to give them the pre-season of their lives. I really do, and I've got full confidence that Clement understands the job in hand. He knows you have to be fit for 3 games a week. You have to be fit for that. If you're not fit enough for that, you can't be at this club. And whether that means recruiting youth into it to fit the player trading model, as well as fitting what Clement is expecting of his players, is going to be interesting to see. The summer is a time that I'm looking forward to in terms of the rebuild, I suppose. I think the biggest thing about it all, Ali, is as a club, how have we ended up, I suppose, an accumulation of everything we've just spoke about. We've ended up at another season where we are probably back to what when Gerrard came in, where there is a rebuild required. We have to get better. We have to get better very quickly in terms of this. I don't want to be a year down the line sitting thinking that didn't go anywhere. That really didn't go anywhere. Do you believe that Clement can fix this all within this season? Is it going to take another season? What do you think he can do? I think no matter what, he's going to need a very good window this window. I'm not going to say everybody that he's going to get this window, but he's got to get 3/4 of the players you would think that he needs in order to build a team for next season.
Yeah, we can't be sitting here next season, can we, talking about the same thing again, about another manager gone and trying to get rid of players.
By the way, while we were talking about positives, I did forget about Jack Butland. I just seen that in the comments. Jack Butland has been terrific this season. That's a given. Everybody knows that.
It was. Bye. Clement for me next season, Carney. The Rangers board have to give him. They have to give him time. We can't go into the summer bring probably around 10, 12 players that's going to come in, Carney. That's a big amount of players to come in, and a big amount of players going out as well. So we can't go 10 games into the season even if we don't, dare I say, start great. We can't punt him. We need to back him. You look at Gerrard, Carney, but you could see what Gerrard was building. You could see it with your own eyes. If I can see it with Clement, and I can see it with Clement when he's come in, I can see what he's trying to do. I thought against Celtic in the cup final, I thought he learned from the previous game, Carney, but he had a limited squad to pick from and limited players in terms of what they can do. I thought he could do as good as what he could get, to be honest, in that game. I thought he did well in how he set out to try and nullify Celtic. So going forward, yeah, I back Clement, but he has to be backed. And as sad as what I'm about to say is, we might have to suffer a slight bit more pain next season, Can, in terms of we may not win the league next season. But if I can see what he's trying to do, trying to build, you have to stick with him because it'll eventually come like it did with Gerrard. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he brings in 10, 12 players and they just all gel and he goes on and wins a treble, similar to what Postecoglou did when he came in at Celtic a couple of years ago. So I hope that happens. But we have to back him, Carney. Has to be backed. And we can't, after, like I say, 10, 12 games, if it's not going the way we think it's going, bin him, because we'll just be back in the same position again. So he has to be backed for me.
It does, yeah, definitely. And I think glass half full guy in me saying we were maybe 3 injuries or 3 less injuries to players or 3 better signings away from probably really making this more competitive than one ended up being. We might have gave ourselves a chance to get over the line, but ultimately I do think the fitness of the players, the pre-season that we had for last season going into this season ultimately didn't work, and the players were not the core players, the players that were fit the majority of the time weren't fit enough to last the entire season, and that's something that's going to need addressed. Before I go any further, it is Ali's favourite part of the show. It is time for the Manscaped promo. Time for a word from our sponsors. This Father's Day, trust the leaders in men's grooming and our podcast sponsors, Manscaped. Our friends at Manscaped have crafted a total package for your old boy's special day. Whether it's the boys downstairs, his beard, or even the best pair of underwear out there, Manscaped has his bases covered. Head over to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB at 22. Remember that old beard trimmer your dad's been using since she was a kid? Well, it's time to treat him to an upgrade. Introducing the face shaver that's a must-have for that smooth finish, the Manscaped Handyman, which is genuinely Ali's favourite. That's actually true. Powerful and compact, this face shaver isn't just for home use, it's perfect for quick touch-ups on the go. Its precision blades ensure a clean shave every time, making an essential tool for any man's grooming routine. If your dad prefers rocking a scruffier beard, then the Beard Hedger Pro Kit is the ultimate beard maintenance kit for him. This all-in-one kit includes the Beard Hedger, Manscaped's most advanced beard trimmer, along with shampoo, conditioner, oil and balm for his beard. It also comes with a brush, a comb and scissors so he can style his beard and moustache like a true gent. Instead of the standard socks you might get him, he will be as comfy as can be with the Boxers 2.0. They were crafted with a simple mission: to be the most comfortable boxers a man can buy. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUB at 22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code CLUB at 22. Never forget where you came from. Happy Father's Day from Manscaped. Thank you very much to Manscaped for their continued support of this podcast. Very much appreciated. And if you use our code on their website, you're supporting this podcast. So thank you very much, everybody, for who has used it and who is going to use it going forward. Handyman is your favourite. Thank you, William Logan, for becoming a YouTube member, by the way. Superb, mate. Thank you so much. But Handyman is class bit kit.
Oh, that's a game changer, the Handyman.
You use it every day, don't you? Hang on. It takes you about
a
week to get stubble. Aye.
Every 3 days or something, but I can't. Christ, it would take me, buddy.
See, your voice would have people confused, mate, because it does sound like you've hit puberty, to be honest.
I've definitely hit puberty, but it's just not come up to this area here. But to be fair, I'm quite delighted about. I wouldn't want to have a beard, to be honest.
No, it's annoying. It is annoying having a hairy face, mate.
But the Handyman is very good. It's good when you go on holiday and stuff, and when you're travelling for work and that. Even the other stuff they do as well. It's very good. The boxers are very good as well. They're good in the summers too. I do like them. So boxers are good. Thank you very much from Manscaped.
Absolutely. No, boxers are good. I do like the boxers. I'm not wearing them today. But I do wear them. I do generally wear them.
Scotia wears them every day.
Scotia does, yeah. Inside out, mate, for the day after, yeah. We'll move on to the season coming up, mate. There's a few things to cross off the list first before we kind of outlay our expectations, I suppose, for the league, and there's going to be plenty of time to speak about that over the summer, that's for sure, once we see different signings, etc. But we'll start with the new away strip. What is your thoughts on it? First of all, why are we an amateur club in the fact that we cannot keep strips behind closed doors until the official release date? Why is there constant leaks, and why has that never been addressed? I sound so daft, and it's probably a bit of Ryan creeping into me that's a bit Rangers da. Why does this happen? Why is there not somebody just fully in control of this from start to finish? But it was leaked ages ago, mate. Everybody had seen it, but the club have made it official that it's the kind of white top with the 98, 99 kind of crest with
the Nike one, I think.
Yeah, the Nike one, yeah, with the McEwen's lager. What is your thoughts on the strip, mate? Have you seen it in person yet?
Not in person. I know it is in the store at the moment. Obviously, we've seen leaked strips from it. Sports Direct, as always, were out with it first before Rangers. This is bizarre, but that is what it is with Mike Ashley, obviously. But yeah, I think I'd need to see it in person. It's difficult, Carney, because you see these strips online and stuff, and the image when Rangers come out with them. But when you physically go into the shop and see it and have it in your hands, I think you get a better judge of a strip then. But it looks quite detailed, to be honest, when you go into the actual detail of the strip. The badge, as you say, I know we talked about it today, but it goes back to that 98-99 season, which I says ultimately was a failure because that was when Rangers were going for 10 in a row way back then under that strip, I think, because it was a Nike strip. So, they like these kind of throwbacks, Carney, the kind of retro things kind of in Castore. This is the last season with Castore, unless we go with them again. So I'm interested in who the kit sponsor is for next season going forward in terms of manufacturing the kits. But it's all right. I'll be honest, Carl, I don't really buy the away kits. I buy the home kit and sometimes the third kit because the third kit can be a wee bit out there sometimes. But yeah, I will go to the club shop and have a wee look at it, but I'll wait for the home top. That's the one I'll always get.
Yeah, I've seen a few comments in the before I come to my thoughts on the away strip. I've seen a few comments in the chat about Mike Ashley obviously revealing it before Rangers actually do. That's to do with Castore. Castore can choose to sell these strips to anybody that they wish to.
They can do that, Sports Direct.
Yeah, they can do that if they wish. There's nothing Rangers, I don't think, can do anything about that. It's up to Castore who they give the strips to and when they give the strips to them. It's really up to them. It's up to them to decide. I don't know if Rangers and Castore could enter an agreement where no one can buy the strip before Rangers release it, if that makes sense. Rangers release it on an X date and then maybe 5 days later, 3 days later, it goes on sale elsewhere. But again, it's probably far too much work to be done into it before than it's worth, than what it's worth. If you're a Rangers fan and you're still buying stuff off Mike Ashley, have a word with yourself, Genuinely have a word with yourself. Come on, have a word with yourself. So it doesn't really concern me too much that Mike Ashley does that. It's just one of those things that you want it to be released by the club. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things as a strip. You want to see it first as a club. But yeah, that I hope they say that probably address the Mike Ashley thing. It's Castore. It's nothing to do with Rangers. It's all decided by Castore in terms of who sells their tops for them. My thoughts on it, I'll need to wait to see it in person. I don't like the collar. I'm not going to lie. I don't like the red and blue on the arm. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's a wee bit. I don't know. It's just I wait until I've seen it in person. And the badge, why keep harping back? Like, why do we keep harping back to it? Like, let's harp back to that time. Like, let's harp back to that time. And I think you mentioned earlier, I was like, is that not the top we failed to win 10 in a row? And I'm like, yes. Did you say that? Sorry, mate, I was probably reading comments. Yeah, that's the top that we failed to win 10 in a row. And so, I'll wait until I see it in person. But that one, usually when a top comes out and I really like it, I'm there to buy it on the day that it's out, and I didn't even feel a slight urge to go and get this one. So I'll reserve judgment until I see it in person, and I will very much wait for the home top. The home top also looks like it's been leaked, mate. Through it was meant to be a Wolves top or something like this, and honestly, man, and again, that's Castore. That's nothing to do with Rangers. That's Castore that are doing that. So, and it had been released, and it looks like it. That looks decent enough. To be fair, I think that looks pretty kind of standard. A blue Rangers top, it's always going to sell. It's not difficult to design a Rangers home top. You know what they should do? See, I'm selling the concept kits you do see kicking about, and I know I'm sounding very much like a Rangers dad tonight. Some of them are cracking. Like, some of you see something, you're like, that is minted, man. Like, absolutely minted. They should really be having a look at things like that, or asking for a fan engagement in that regard, in terms of putting ideas up for strips and thinking what one's the best. That'd be quite a good idea. But yeah, the new strip is out. £75, I think it is. Or if you wait until probably March next year, you'll get it for a tenner. But yeah, it's £75 just now, which is a fiver up on last year's. Ali, this is just will continue up until Rangers fans decide that they don't want to pay that for a top anymore, won't it?
That's what it is. If you go down if you buy a English Premiership shirt for Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, I think it's even more expensive, to be honest.
It's about £100, I think, guys.
It's It is what it is. You're going to pay that. You're not going to go back to the years, can you? Paying 40, 50 quid, whatever it was, for a jersey way back then. That's what you're paying now. So, at the end of the day, you don't need to buy the strip. You can go out to Turkey with Ryan and get it there for
yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can have out of Ryan and got it at Christmas time because Turkey would have known. Turkey would have known.
Ryan's selling out his garage.
yeah, probably. Wouldn't be shocked. That's what Ryan's doing tonight. He's printing names on the back of people's turkey tops. Move on again to this season, mate. The first new signing was confirmed. Hefty, Jefty, Chiefty, whatever the way you want to say the guy's name. I'm sticking with Jefty because that's what it looks like. He's a left back coming in. What's your thoughts on this? You've seen much of him. I know we've seen the obligatory YouTube clips on it. Obviously, he's the signing along with Diomande will be made permanent, of course. So they two, if you like. But he signs as a left back, obviously confirming that pretty much the Barisic is gone. Is he the understudy to Yilmaz? Is Yilmaz going to be moved on? Is he going to be the number one choice? Is it still an area that Rangers should look to improve even if Ridvan does stay? Because I won't lie, mate, as much as I like him and I think he's got potential, his injury proneness worries me.
Yeah, he's in a list of players of do we move on in the summer if somebody could, because we can command decent money for Yilmaz, I would think, can't I think we would get our money back in him, plus probably I think we can make a profit in Yilmaz potentially. So it's interesting to see what Clermont thinks in terms of, because we don't really know the ins and outs of their injuries, but he has been injury prone too much for me this season. When he's been fit, Carney, and he went through that wee stage where he was playing week in, week out for Rangers, I thought he was very good. I like the way he was completely different left back to Barisic, but aye, Jefty, Hefty, however you pronounce it.
I seem to have lost Ali. Everybody, I don't know what's happened there. I thought it might have been my computer, so I remained quiet there. Ali, you still there? Just voice only? No. So we've lost Ali. I don't know what's happened there. So you need to listen to me until Ali comes back in. Always a professional podcast. I think he's done this to me deliberately because I was
There
away.
we go.
Yeah. What happened there? I thought it was mine. I thought it was my computer.
I'll be honest. I thought my battery had gone, which I knew because I charged it before I came. I've still got 38% battery. The screen just went black.
Yeah.
Just bizarre.
I thought it was mine. I just thought I'll just sit here and wait for my computer to catch up with itself. And then Peter must have been like, why's going on saying anything? Just for that, mate.
I know, honestly, that was bizarre that there. I was going to blame the dog there, but he's fast asleep on the floor there, so I can't even blame him for that one. But no, that was a bizarre one there, can't I? But no, the left back there coming in, 20 years of age. He does look good on YouTube, to be honest. I have seen the YouTube videos. A lot of folk have said he's like a Tav, but on the left-hand side. So brace himself to get slagged by the Rangers support on that side. But again, he ticks boxes, Carney, 20 years of age, promising, a player that we could develop, hopefully, and punt in a couple of years' time. So is he going to be the first choice left back next season? Probably not, but I don't know. I'd need to see him, Carney. We'll get to see him in pre-season, but from what I've seen in YouTube videos, he does look very attacking. So, yeah, but the left-hand slot is something we need to address because obviously Barisic is going, as we say, Yilmaz is injury prone, so yeah, he's the first of many on that back line that we need to bring in, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so, mate. I can't really disagree with that. But with Yilmaz, if we get a decent offer for him, I would let him go because I don't think he can be trusted for a full season. I honestly don't. We can't continuously just, but if we keep him fit, that's one thing I hate about Rangers. We do it quite a lot. If we can keep him fit, then we might get a tune out. I believe if there's a decent bid for Yilmaz, you move him on. But yeah, from the obligatory YouTube videos, as I said, he does look like a very attacking left back, and it'll be good to see him. Good to see him in action. And Danilo's already taught him that we are the people. So thank you very much for that, Danny. Very much appreciated. The Cordoba deal falls through. I've got no idea about Cordoba apart from I signed him on Football Manager, and I genuinely did. That's the truth, and that's where most people know him from. Norwich have come in with a better deal. They've gave him a lot more money probably than we would manage to give him. This is something that I think is going to become much more common, mate. Probably happens more than we actually know that it happens. If an English Championship team or an English Premiership team wants the same player as we are going after, there is only one route now. There's only one route due to the absolute behemoth of a league that we are next to, mate, and the absolute cash cow that it is. There's little we can do in this regard.
Yeah. You're going to have to get used to this, Carney, moving forward with these players. I hadn't really heard of them. Obviously, you look at the YouTube videos, live streaming, he ticked the boxes. And I think most people would look and go between us and Norwich and go, he's definitely going to come to us. Norwich are not even the same level as Glasgow Rangers, but they play in the English Championship, Carney. They can offer more wages. They have a route to the Premiership where this guy ultimately wants to go. Mm-hmm. So it's going to happen. I'd rather we know now that this guy doesn't want to come to Rangers, and or he's looking at a lot of players look at Rangers as a stepping stone to bigger leagues, and I don't blame them. If we can get good service out of them, that's the route these players should be going. But yeah, he wants to go to Norwich. He will get more money down there. Norwich have probably got a decent chance of getting up next season in that Championship, to be honest. So it's just where we are. We played Scotland. Yeah, we're a big, massive club in Scotland. Yes, we have European football, but yeah, some of these players won't look at that, Carn. He wants to go to the Premiership. He's seen a route going there. It's going to get more money. So unfortunately, that's how it's going to be moving forward, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lose sleep over it, to be honest.
No,
fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, me neither, mate. I didn't know enough about him to in terms of the real person, the real player, to be like devastated by it. I won't lose sleep by it, but it's always one of those things that you think, right, cool, centre back's coming, that's good, that looks good, and then at the last minute it gets pulled from you. As a fan, you'll always go, oh, that's annoying, and you will be kind of annoyed about it, I suppose, in the short term. But I've got absolutely no doubt we're already linked with a Chilean defender. I don't know his name. I forget his name. I'm not even going to pretend.
Good in chat manager.
I have no idea. No idea.
I'll find out.
I'll look him up tonight. Somebody will know. I'll look him up tonight. But yeah, that deal is off. So, but it's clear that Rangers are obviously going to go into the transfer market for a centre half, and staying on centre halves. Probably more than one centre half, but staying on centre halves. Rumoured that Balogun has signed a year extension, mate. I'm in two minds about this. One that I mentioned, the thing that I mentioned earlier on to you about the fact that this is probably not going to be fixed in one window. I think a lot of repair can get done. A lot of the rebuild can get done in this window. Don't get me wrong. But the Balogun one is probably, if he's staying, he is very much fourth choice due to the age that he is, and him himself is prone to an injury. It makes sense, but it's also one of the wee bit in the back of my head going, this is just the same thing we always do with older players.
That's the problem. Folk will look at that, Carney, and go, of course they've re-signed Balogun, because that's what they do. And they'll go and sign Brian Jack and all some of these other players that their contracts are up. But if you look at it on its own, Carney, I mean, Balogun was brought in at the beginning of this season as a fourth choice centre-half. Just so happens that he found himself away in as one of our starters for ages under Clement, because the other guys just simply weren't good enough. Balogun, as long as he's a fourth choice centre half for me next season, I think he'll do fine. I like Balogun. Again, yes, he is injury prone at times, but if he's playing as a fourth choice centre half, he's hardly going to play games for Rangers next season, if any, to be honest. He's there as an emergency.
Touch wood.
Yeah. He's really there as an emergency, or playing in League Cup games and lower rounds, or if we're playing a lesser team at Ibrox potentially, and you want to pull somebody out and he can play, I think he can more than do it. I think he's strong. I like him. I think he's a leader off the park. I think if Clement's looking at bringing in younger guys to bring the age range down at Rangers, which we should be doing, we still need a couple of these guys around about the dressing room, Carney, just telling these guys what it's about. And I don't think he'll be on big money.
He's not on a lot. He won't. He's not on a lot.
And you know what you get for Leon Balogun. So yeah, I'm happy enough for that, to be honest, as long as he's a fourth choice centre half. I won't be happy if we then go and re-sign players like, I know you like him, Canny, Ryan Jack, players like that. That's when the fans will go, hold on a minute here. So Balogun's a fourth choice centre half next season. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that.
That's fair enough. And pretty much I did make the point, I put it up just a minute ago as you were talking, mate, that basically seeing Leon was our strongest centre back. I am not having a go at the ability or the performances that we've seen from Balogun. I don't want anybody to think that I am. I don't mean it like that. I just mean it's very uninspiring. It really is very uninspiring that to do that. But, however, on the other hand, as Ali's just mentioned, he isn't on a lot of money. It probably makes sense to have a guy like him around. He loves it here. He's settled here. He knows what it's all about. So, yeah, I do get it. And I suppose I should probably change my saying to I liked Ryan Jack. I'll always like Ryan Jack. Look, I always will like Ryan Jack, but there is absolutely zero danger that Rangers should be offering him a contract. That's just a no, and it's definitely not happening. So it's a complete non-starter. He's been a good servant to us. I'll miss him. I will miss him, but it's very much time to move on from Ryan Jack. A few players returning, mate, that I want to speak about. Hadji's returning from his loan spell as well as Sam Lammers. What do we do with the both of them? Hadji, it's a weird one. Really is a weird one. He did not have a very good time away on his loan spell. He failed to feature quite a lot towards the end of the season. Didn't really set the header alight, didn't do very much that impressed anybody really from all reports. But on the other hand, you've got Sam Lammers, who scored 10 goals in 9 games or 11 goals in 10 games, whatever it may be, now drawing quite a bit of interest from the rest of Dutch football. But by the looks of things, Rangers could be on to make a profit from him. This is probably all based on the fact that Sam Lammers says he's a 9 and we were playing him as a 10. I'm not sure. I know there'll be people saying bring him back and give him a go. The biggest thing about that, if you bring him back, give him a go and he's a failure, everybody will just beat the board over the head with it. So I think once the majority of the fans have made up their mind on you, then it's probably best that you move on. But Hadji and Lammers, what's your thoughts on them going forward?
Yanis Hadji, we have to sell in the summer. We have to. I spoke to Scotia before the cup final and he's a massive Hadji fan, as he always has been, and he's like, bring him back and play him in the 10. The way Rangers want to play, Carney, and the way I think Clement wants to play, he wants players that can move about a park, they've got energy, that are quick. Yanis Hadji's a very intelligent football player. Yes, he can play that pass, but for the way we want to play football, I don't think he's going to suit a Clement team for me. Hadji, I think he could, what he's worth. I know he's a poster boy out in Romania. Obviously, there's links to Galatasaray and etc. because of his father and stuff. So I think we could punt Hadji for reasonable money. When I say reasonable money, I'm talking maybe 3 million or something potentially. I don't know. That's me throwing a figure out there. But yes, I would be selling Hadji in the summer, Carney. He's not done it for me. He's had wee purple patches during the season, won the league. I thought he was decent then, but nah, he's too slow for me, Hadji. So he is in the list of players that I will be punting in the summer if we can, because I think we can. Sam Lammers is a bizarre one because he was a joke figure at Rangers. Went out to Dutch, and there he is, Justin Muir.
Justin Muir.
Thank you very much, Justin, and God bless America.
Thank you, Justin, mate, very much. I appreciate it. I have missed it, trust me. I've missed the podcast, I really have.
Yeah, what Carney doesn't know, Justin, is we're coming out of Texas in Ryan's private jet.
Can't wait, mate. Cannot wait. First class as well. I don't know if it'll be his private plane, won't it?
Private jet, Ryan's flying that himself. But
brilliant.
But Sam Lammers, bizarre that a joke figure punted out to Holland, to Utrecht, whatever it is, and he scored 11 goals, whatever it is. Rangers can make a profit in Sam Lammers. I know some Rangers fans are saying bring him back and play as a 9. No, thank you. Because as you say, Carney will come back. I just don't think he suits Scottish football. He's found he's found a league where he suits, and his stock's probably the highest it's been because of the amount of goals he scored. So I think Rangers. I know Rangers paid the best part of. I think you said was it $2.5 million or something they paid for Lammers, maybe nearly $3 million.
Yep.
I'd seriously be looking for $4 or $5 million for Lammers, Karen. Folk might laugh at that, but he's done it in a Dutch.
The thing is now as well, though, but if there is interest, you start a bidding war. Do you know what I mean? Like you get as much back from as you can. It's not up to Rangers to go. By the way, you do realise that we all think he's a donkey. Like no, you make as much money as you can.
Yeah, and like I say, stock's probably the highest it's ever been. So in a bizarre way, I honestly think Rangers could double their money on him, which is mental. Because if somebody told you that in October, you would have laughed at them. We were
like said, stay off his strong cheese at night. That's absolutely.
We were looking at taking a hit in this guy in the summer, along with Dessers, who, again, a guy that I think we could probably get most of our money back on potentially. But Lammers for me, we move on, and I'd like to think Rangers will make a profit on him.
Yeah, you cash in on him, mate. 100%. You're spot on. His stock probably has never been as high as it is right now. Definitely not when he was playing for Rangers anyway, but he's this, because he's jumped about clubs all over the place and he's done no bad at Utrecht. So, no, look, if people want to give us $5 million for Sam Lammers, knock yourself out. You fully have my permission to do so.
There's your player traded model right there.
Yeah, it's working. There you go. There we go. Sign donkeys, put them at loan so they're good again, and then we'll get the money back, guy. It's a risky business, mate. It is a risky business. To finish up tonight, Ali, what I'll do is I'll say, what do the club need to do different this summer and going forward? Under a new CEO, what's the one thing, if you could put I know there's a number of things, but one thing is non-negotiable, what the Rangers and the board, the club as a whole, have to do differently this season, going into next season even?
We have to bring a striker in, for me. That's the number one. A guy... I know a lot of folk will fling back and go, Dessers scored 22 goals, but I looked at Dessers in the cup final, he can't hold that ball up. The way we want to play and bring players in, he can't do it. We need an out in it. I know Danilo's coming back, but again, I'd need to see Danilo. He's been out for donkeys, and when he was here at the beginning, he wasn't overly impressive, if we're being honest. So we have to go out and sign. There's Aldo RFC there saying, and I agree with him, 2 strikers. But we have to sign a guy that's going to score his goals, Carney. And I know Dessers scored 22 goals, but we should be having a striker, Carney, that scores at least 25 goals a season for Rangers. And a guy that'll occupy defences, a guy that can hold balls up. I mean, I've said it for ages, Miovski that plays for Aberdeen. I'd go and sign him in a minute if we could get him, because he ticks all the boxes in terms of a striker that I'm looking for. But that's...
I've got the fear... Sorry, quickly on him. I've got the fear again we'll miss out on him due to him going... I think we've probably already missed the boat with him. I do.
Yeah, because Aberdeen, in fair play to them, will be able to get top dollar for him, can't they? They won't want to sell him to us or Celtic. And he probably will go to another league where they will get the money for him. But yeah, the spine of the team for me, Carney, is basically answer your question. The signings have got to be right. The spine of the team for me is key. 2 centre halves, guy in the middle of the park, and a Barry Ferguson type guy. Give me the ball and let me dictate play. That kind of guy and a striker. The spine of the team is key for me next season. We are powder puff as a team. I think we're physically weak, we're mentally weak. We need guys in that are going to, these pillars Clement talks about. We need guys in that are going to tick these pillars that he's looking for. But yeah, the signings have to be bang on, Carney. I know there will be a few that probably won't make it because you can't just sign 10 players and they'll all just turn out to be superstars. That doesn't work in football, but they have to be bang on because they weren't last season. But the spine of the team is key for me, and a guy that scores goals.
Yeah, can't disagree with that. I'll go slightly different and say the board and the club have to be brave. We're going to need to be really brave, and I'm see sentimentality and all that now has to be washed aside. The fans as a whole have now got to the point where we're like, right, we are done with the whole sentimentality thing, even myself included in that. I'm going, it is time for a fresh, and it has to be a fresh as much as it possibly can be. I think they have to they're going to need to make pretty big decisions, I think, but they're going to need to do the right thing for the future of the club. It's all well and good how many big buildings you build outside and around the stadium and the amount of money that you're doing through sponsorship deals, whatever else. Getting Gordon Ramsay to open a restaurant in your stadium, all lovely, lovely stuff. But if the end of the season, my team are not standing there waving the league trophy in my face, then you're not doing the right thing as far as I'm concerned. So the board are going to need to be brave. Clement's going to need to be brave, and so is Coppin. He's going to need to work some magic in terms of signings, he really is. He's going to need to pull some strings and get things going. But yes, they're going to have to do that and show us progress. Please show us progress. Let's not go into next season with all of us scratching our head going, what have we done over the summer?
I think he will, Carney. I mean,
yeah.
On this, Jim Sloan, as always, thanks very much,
Thank you, Jim.
But Clement's shown for me, he's made a couple of big decisions in the season, Carney. He dropped Connor Goldson. Connor Goldson was undroppable for Rangers. He dropped Connor Goldson. Yeah, he could have brought Lundstrom back in that cup final, Carney. Didn't play him. I know he brought him in the last 5 minutes, but he didn't start him. So I think he showed to the Rangers support that he knows that these group of players aren't good enough. He knows these players need moved on.
Yeah.
He's not daft, the same as us. We can't move them all on, Carney. As much as we want to have a bin file and get rid of pretty much all of them, we can't do that. But he will be working in the background and moving a lot of these players, Tabs, Goldsons, etc., to move them on. So, yeah, I think he'll be onto the board, Carney, and I'd like to think in the summer, or we're in the summer now, that they will be brave and they'll make these big decisions, because I agree with you, they have to make these big decisions. If we don't, and we just stick with the same old as we've done the last couple of seasons, we'll be right back here, Carney, next season discussing the exact same thing again.
If we are, I'll just put this podcast up again, mate. We'll not need to do one. We'll just be saying one. But no, yeah, we can't be that. We can't. This time next year, we can't be in the same position we are now. We just can't be. We have to see real signs of progress now. We really do. It's now time for pretty much a fresh start. And just to finish up, Curry has said Scott Walter's statue is amazing. It is absolutely spectacular. Absolutely kudos to the designer and to the club for it. It is absolutely amazing. I've not managed to go see it in person as of yet, but it is very much on my to-do list, and I'm going to get there as soon as I can. It is spectacular. That will do us for tonight. A quick hour, mate, because I've not been on in a long time, so that was a very much a quick hour. Ali, as always, mate, thank you very much for joining me and for holding the fort in my absence.
No problem. It was a proper Club at 22 podcast, Carney, to come you back in, and there was dogs in the background.
Oh, it was everything tonight.
Toys. Yeah. My laptop disappeared halfway through the podcast as well and reappeared. So, I mean, everyone in the comments know that we aren't professional, Carney. No. And the people like the odd blip on that in there. So, yeah, no, it was good to talk about Rangers. And, yeah, I think we're in for probably one of the most exciting summers in a long time, Carney, in terms of bringing players in. And it'll be interesting when we get back to pre-season. And obviously, I know we're going to the game at Murrayfield in July, what that Rangers team will look like, Carney. Because the beginning of this season, we looked at the Rangers team. I know we brought a lot of players in, but it looked pretty much the same as the previous season. This team won't. This will be a brand new team. And it's exciting times as a Rangers fan going forward, because it's a fresh start. So I'm looking forward to seeing what players come in the summer.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. In terms of the podcast going forward, as you say, I've still got my things to deal with. We'll probably remain at one a week just now during the summer. For now, there might be the odd thing once I'm kind of back to the pod more full time, which I will be as quickly as I can be. You all know that I will be as quickly as I can be. I'll be back because I do miss it. It's something that I absolutely adore doing. We've had another fantastic season in terms of the podcast, and we've grew to over 6,000 subscribers now, well over 2 million views on YouTube, and for us that is bonkers. Might not be a lot to some, but to us it really is mental that we've managed to get get there. I appreciate everybody's understanding, your kind words, everything that everything that you have said for what I'm going through. I really do appreciate it. When I can be back full time, I very much will be. But for now, as I say, it will be probably one a week. The Friday pod will remain during the summer, and then as soon as I say I'm back, there'll be different special pods during the week to fill the time until the real football's back, and obviously any sort of big breaking news. If we can do a pod, we very much will. So thank you everybody for the comments tonight, all the donations as well, new members, etc. Very much appreciated. If we're not back soon, we're not back during the week, then we'll be back this time next Friday. Take care of yourselves, enjoy your summer. The sun this weekend looks like it's going to be not bad at all. If you could like and subscribe, that would be magic to help us reach. What's our target going to be now? What should we say? 10? 8? No, 8. Let's not go 10. We say 8?
Let's go for 8. Aye. 8,000.
I'll go for 8. Let's try and get to 8,000 by the end of next season. That would be cracking if we could manage to get there. But yeah, again, thank you everybody. Really good to see you all. Really good to be back and be on. And hopefully I'll speak to you in the not too distant future. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers everybody.